It was a cold evening in Manila. The sun had dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in bruised shades of purple and gold. The streets buzzed with life, honking cars, street vendors shouting their last calls, and the faint hum of 1,000 stories blending together. In the middle of that chaos stood a boy named Miguel, 12 years old, barefoot, clutching a battered old guitar with a missing string. His face was streaked with dust, but his eyes carried something deep, something that belonged to an old soul trapped inside a young body. Miguel had been playing on the same street corner for months. People passed him by, some dropped coins, others simply stared. But Miguel never stopped singing. He sang because that's all he had left. His mother used to tell him, "Mijay, when life gets too loud, sing louder." But she hadn't been around for months now. She had fallen ill, and the hospital bills had drained every peso they had. When she passed, Miguel didn't even have enough money for a coffin. The neighbors helped, a few strangers pitched in, and he buried her beneath a mango tree behind their little shack. Since that day, his songs had changed. They weren't just melodies anymore, they were prayers. One afternoon, as Miguel sang Hotel California outside a cafe, something unexpected happened. A foreign couple stopped. The man, wearing sunglasses and a loose shirt, listened closely. The boy's voice was raw, imperfect yet beautiful, fragile yet full of power. When Miguel finished, the man stepped forward. "Hey, kid," he said in a deep accent. "That was incredible. Where did you learn to sing like that?" Miguel smiled shyly. "From my mama. She loved this song." The man looked at his wife. "He's special." They exchanged glances, then handed Miguel a flyer. "It was for Philippines Got Talent auditions happening that weekend. You should try," the man said. "You have something the world needs to hear." Miguel looked down at the flyer. The paper trembled in his hands. "I can't go," he whispered. "I don't have money for the bus." The couple smiled, and the woman reached into her bag. She handed him 200 pesos and said, "Then this is your ticket, young man. Go make your mama proud." Miguel's eyes filled with tears. He bowed deeply, whispering, "Salamat pa, thank you." The day of the audition arrived. Miguel stood outside the huge auditorium, feeling completely out of place. Kids in fancy clothes, singers with professional microphones, dancers with stylists, and there he was, wearing a faded t-shirt, his guitar slung across his shoulder like an old friend. When his turn came, the stage crew hesitated. "Kid, you sure this guitar will hold up? It's missing a string." Miguel smiled softly. "It always does." He walked out onto the stage, and the lights nearly blinded him. The judges stared, 4 faces, each waiting for something special. "Hi, what's your name?" one of them asked. "Miguel Santos, sir." "And what will you sing for us today, Miguel?" "Hotel California, sir. It was my mama's favorite song." The crowd chuckled softly. How could this skinny boy pull off such a legendary song? But then, the first note escaped his lips. The room fell silent. Miguel's voice carried a haunting tone, every word dripping with emotion. His fingers danced gently on the old guitar, making the missing string sound intentional, like a wound turned into art. On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair, the judges leaned forward. The audience went still. It wasn't just a song anymore, it was pain, love, loss, and memory woven into sound. When he reached the chorus, something in the way he sang "Welcome to the Hotel California" made people's hearts ache. You could feel it, the loneliness in his voice, the echo of his mother's lullabies, the weight of every night he sang on the streets for coins. By the time he finished, the entire hall was standing. The audience erupted into applause, cheers, and tears. One of the judges, a woman with tears streaming down her cheeks, whispered, That didn't feel like a performance. That felt like a story." Then, before anyone could speak again, the golden buzzer lit up. A golden confetti rained down from above, swirling around Miguel like 1,000 falling stars. He froze, mouth open, eyes wide, hands trembling. He had never seen anything so beautiful. The same woman stood, wiping her tears. "Miguel," she said softly, "your voice just reminded me why I love music. You took a song everyone knows and made it something divine. You didn't just sing it, you lived it." Miguel couldn't hold it in anymore. He covered his face and cried, not from sadness, but from a kind of healing. The pain of every lonely night, every tear shed beside his mother's grave, melted into that golden rain. Backstage, reporters crowded around him. "How does it feel, Miguel?" one asked. He smiled through his tears. "It feels like my mama's watching." The video of his audition exploded online. Within days, millions had watched. People from all over the world were commenting, "This boy is pure soul. He made me cry. Where is this kid? I want to help him." Soon, offers started pouring in. Sponsors, producers, even foreign musicians wanted to collaborate. But Miguel stayed humble. He still played his guitar every morning under that mango tree, whispering, "We did it, Mama." Months later, at the finals, Miguel stood once again on that grand stage. The lights dimmed, and he began a new song, one he wrote himself called Mama's Song. The lyrics told his story, a boy who sang through hunger, who lost everything but never stopped believing. When he finished, the crowd chanted his name, Miguel. 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 He didn't win the show that night, but he won something bigger. He won the world's heart. Years passed. Miguel grew up to become one of the most beloved singers in Asia. But he never forgot where it all started. With a stranger's kindness and a broken guitar. Every year on his mother's death anniversary, he returned to that same street corner. He'd take out that same guitar, sit on the same curb, and sing Hotel California softly to the wind. People would stop, whisper, "Is that Miguel Santos?" But he never said a word. He just smiled, closed his eyes, and sang for her, the way he always had. And when the last note faded into the night, he'd whisper, "Thank you for listening, Mama."